Welcome to Happy Acres Farm. Today is January the 24th, 2022. My name is James Matthews. We raise fruits on this farm, and I appreciate you watching our videos. Several years ago, I cut back some 33-year-old plants that my father had planted back in 1987, and I was in the process of revitalizing them. And I got a lot of emails pertaining to follow-up pictures. So what I'm going to do today is show you the plants that I cut back, and then I'm going to show you what else I did to the orchard in order to attempt to save my father's orchard. These plants are the ones on this front row, are the ones that I cut back to revitalize. And this is their progress over the time from the last video. One of the issues that we had to deal with was that we had no sun penetration. And because of my father's medical conditions, he was unable to prune the plants. So they ended up growing extremely tall. When I came out to take the farm over, here's one that I cut. When I came out to take the farm over, plants were approximately 16 to 18 feet tall. And that made it virtually impossible to pick, and you couldn't walk through the orchards. So these are the plants that are on the video. Now what I want to show you is what I did to the remaining orchard. As you can see, this orchard holds quite a few blueberry plants. There's 500 is what I counted. And what I did is I went in and I purchased me a very nice handheld chainsaw and some electronic pruning shears. And I went in and I cut the plants back. Now, rule of thumb is you don't cut blueberry plants or any kind of plants back over 25% because you'll put the plants back into a dormant state. Well, right now they're dormant. It's January the 24th, they're dormant. So I'm not worried about putting them in a dormant state. However, I will not get a lot of blueberries off this particular orchard, but I have another orchard that has 700 plants in it that I will get some off of. Last year, in the spring, I came to the front row and I pruned the front row back. And I'm going to go down to the end so you can get a better look. But I cut this row back, and just from last year, you can see the progress. We still have snow on the ground, so if I fall, please don't laugh too hard. You can see the progress of the plants just over the last year. Now, one thing that I did on these particular plants is I actually cut them high. And I wanted to allow the bottom to start getting sunlight so I could start having bushier plants. And so at the end of this year, I'm going to cut the tops off these down to the sizes that I've cut the other plants down to. And hopefully within a matter of a couple of years, this orchard will be revitalized. Now, this section of the orchard, which I cut last year, I did not hedge, which means cutting the tops of them out. I left them tall, and the reason for it is because I'm putting a new greenhouse in, and I want to take those toppings, or pieces, turn them into cuttings, and I want to root some more blueberry plants from them. So I left them up. But this is what I have done to a 500 plant orchard in order to revitalize it. I will tell you that it took a lot of work. And yes, that's my little excavator. It took him also. I pushed so many piles of cuttings down that I had to use him to do it. In fact, there's a pile of the cuttings there, is a nice pile of what I took off these plants right here. As you can see, you're going to get a lot of cuttings. So if you decide to try to revitalize some older plants, what I would recommend is perhaps doing maybe 25% of them one year, and then another 25% the following year, and then another 25% the following year. What that'll do is that'll put you at about a 4-year gap from your first to your last. You'll start getting berries again, and of course you can cut them all at one time if you wish. But as you can see, these plants have very large stalks. The shoots are very huge, and I actually pulled some up that had died, and the root base on these particular plants go out for 10 or 15 feet. But you can get an idea. Let me pull this up. Basically of how tall the plants were standing before I cut them back. This is just one piece that I cut off of it. But you can see that's a lot of blueberry plant. But you got to break an egg to make an omelet. And so this is a revitalized 1987 orchard. Thank you for watching my videos. I will continue making them this year. The COVID has slacked off a little bit. We're able to start getting more activity going on the farm. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them on my site, and I'll be more than glad to respond. Thank you for visiting Happy Acres Farm.